We'll be on our way soon. Thank you again for lending a hand. I've just always liked animals and puzzles.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And no, as I said, I have yet to catch it.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the Phasmid.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research. And certainly not. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Yes?
That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual. Meaning this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive part.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall. A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least. Their heads low 10 meters away. Other shades are lined up in an orderly manner. Automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. The sun blazes high up in the sky, baking the planks, the sand, your skin. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions, and they stand, facing the wall. It's impossible. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every. Leeches, fleas, and thieves, all the freeloader scum living off the hard work of others. Such is your belief. Maybe you should change it. They were praying, screaming. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? man of duty, dark duty. Overpriced mercenaries putting down some rabid dogs. Someone's got to do it, right? commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the... Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, it could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolution.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant.
A cold sea wind. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks see the constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's a trap in the reeds. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. Surely.
This is the reeds by the abandoned camp. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp. This trap is also full of panicked locusts.
Another empty trap. Always up for a good jog. Otherwise, would I still be on this case with you?
This trap's nothing but locusts in this trap as well.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done. No, I'm fine. I didn't mean to complain, it's just...
It takes you the reeds sway in the coastal breeze. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end. Surrounding the trap feels light and silent as you pick no locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in...
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Right. Anyway, that's for the cryptozoologists to figure out now. We're not.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot.
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight. It does not budge. Not only is it locked, it's also jammed shut.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get...
At least you can think about opening it. About doors in general. They are, after all, fundamental to your... Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drew. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they... The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a... It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker, the lock turns easily.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark in the heart of the city. machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. A radio computer. We have one down at the station. No, I don't know how to operate it or what it's used for.
This is the Ream Prefect radio computer, a model number RC. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machines. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape. This is the machine's filament memory. Press play to access its content. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a sound. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East in...
This is a human interface. A retired person sitting behind a switchboard somewhere.
The filament you have inserted into the core. That was a question. Have you inserted it into the core? Good. Please repeat.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still, no. Received. Fortress Accident. Is there any... Goodbye, Fortress.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his...
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the... Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling... It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets...
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking... Maybe it's possible to talk to it. The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a...
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesque and a district in general. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesques in Revachol.
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that box.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to...
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. It's all very hard to square. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here. Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wreaking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how graceful. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Save him perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Sure did, Holmes. I am, at least in part, Holmes. Until the mother's love burns away the cruel distinctions of the body. Haven't you ever met a Mex before? Cabrón. Surprising number. You know, I'm not so sure myself anymore. Don't really matter. A boyadero? No, Holmes. I don't go in for that kind of thing. It's all about surrender. Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First timers? Oh man, I would love to see that statue. I'm sure I'd be trespassing if the church was in use. I done my share of illegal shit. Used to be in a gang, the whole deal. But even memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. That's not really the point, I said. You gotta give yourself over.
Do you remember your name?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to...
Tiago's my name. But those syllables don't mean much to me these days. Your place amongst your fellas. Your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. Oh, that's no simple question, I said. She is one. She is a cavity in the dark, beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally,
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
It's not like that at all, man. It's just...
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I heard that before, Way. And I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke...
There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system.
She took you for a good spin, huh? Don't worry, bro. That love is but a drop. The mother will eat all of you and never spit you out. No worries, man. I know this shit takes time. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes, that's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound. Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. I've been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
Police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. Other spooker? Oh, esa...
The Aita is Grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age, that's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she...
Or search through her radio computer.
Too many times, Essay.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety. The lieutenant raises his eyebrow.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is after. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear the ones in the tent outside, right? I see them, think they scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway, why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there. Might even be nice to have...
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
I think we're done here, Essay.
That was in. However, I'm still not sure how.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly... This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips. She acknowledges the passing of someone who is you. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first generation
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before. In the wild,
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
respectful. Is the lieutenant a pang of guilt? The lieutenant is leaving something out.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the... Well, your station was involved, I hear.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it, why it was conducted or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now. Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism. Internationally, no amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Serene, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous, draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under...
Yes! Big bummer! Boring history! Gotta keep it light, man! Keep it moving! Get fucked up instead!
The past is a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away.
Fuck this pain, Bratan!
No, you must know. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest wow indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already... That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of the highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the more. An innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades. No, we are alone. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory. Terrifying. It's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesque. The Mesque state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, this subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Okay. This church, the coast in general, we shouldn't linger here. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
The mother of humanism. The mother of humanism stands up to shards glimmer in the dark. Hey, her Innocence Dolores Day liked little figurines, right? Liked holding little men between her fingers, remember? You have the headless Falcon Rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. Don't be so pessimistic. This isn't funny. You have a bad feeling about this one. So very, very, very nifty. Nifty and The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body, her face oval and sad. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else? I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of your mind has only a strange little sadness remains. The mother of humanism towers above you. A wax paint. The mother of humanism, a jigsaw of broken shards, falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a leitmotif. Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned. Or just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, after life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great light.
Death, life again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Ice cool.
The mother of human. The mother of humanism stands above you. Why? That does seem to be a problem. The mother of humanism towers above. The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent. The speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is good. Please repeat the past. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please. Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can... The company on whose name the terminal your... One moment. Fortress Accident SCS produces revolutionary...
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 70.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. It's my job. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cube.
Doesn't it get lonely? Sitting there all by herself.
Lonely? Why would it get lonely?
That's why she does this.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do for you, Fortress Act. Goodbye.
The machine's keyboard. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like the first entry made on the 4th. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
Sixth of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with nuts. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced. Eighth of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out, but at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated if she knew how to set up all this machinery. Seems like something to do with radio computers. And something about the backup data getting destroyed. And how everyone thought...
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely.
The strike. We are nearing the day. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what...
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. That disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice?
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles, crackers, ping energy drinks, water, toothpaste, gum. Also, some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCN, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.